Verquan Kimbrough, and Verquan, right?
Correct.
And you're from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you've been boxing for quite a number of years. Tell us how you first got involved in the sport of boxing.
Well, I trained with a guy out of Beaver, PA. I'm actually originally from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. So it's a little town, away from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
But, the guy, he was from Beaver. His name was Tom Yankello. And he started me off and, got me into this boxing. And, of course, I was playing other sports like football, baseball, basketball. I did other sports as well. And boxing just seemed to come natural to me. And, I had more of you can tell that, boxing was where I was headed. So. And I liked the sport, so I just continued on boxing.
It seemed to be the best fit for you, more or less, in terms of your skills.
Correct.
And how old were you?
And my size also.
Right. And how I know the feeling. And how old were you when you started all this?
Well, I started when I was 11, but
okay.
I really got real serious around 15, 16 years old. I said, hey, let me take this thing to another level.
And what can you tell us about your amateur career?
My amateur career, I've been to a lot of amateur matches. I'm about 125 wins and about 12, 13 losses.
Okay.
I was on the Olympic team. I fought with some of the, most of the elite athletes, I guess. Traveled with the USA team to some of the, overseas dual meets and everything like that. Went to Ireland, Poland, Hungary, France. Also.
Definitely one of the top amateur boxers in the country.
One of the top amateur boxers in the country.
And about when did you turn pro?
I turned professional about 6 years ago.
Okay.
So it was around 2003.
Okay.
Which was, I turned professional with the casino down in
right.
West Virginia, Mountain Racetrack and Game Resort.
Yeah.
Me and the owner that owned that casino was real close. His name was Ted Arnaud.
Okay.
And Ted Arnaud, helped me out. He seen that I was a fighter and I'm from that local area. So it was something that just went together, from the local area, his casino was at the local area, it was hey, had this kid come down and fight, he bring some people down there to play the machines. And,
yeah.
So it was something that worked hand in hand together.
And it's interesting, most people, you don't know until you look at it, there's that little sliver of West Virginia that's kind of right between Pennsylvania and Ohio. So technically it's
Correct.
in West Virginia, but it seems like it's more like just sort of on the outskirts of Pittsburgh.
Correct.
How would you describe your style? You don't have a lot of knockouts. You got something like 27 pro wins and maybe 10 or 12 knockouts, so you're not really a big, heavy puncher. But tell us about how you see your style.
What's funny is I'm 21, 2-2, actually.
Okay, 21, 2-2.
Yeah, correct. And I'm a boxer, but I can punch. It's kind of crazy because my record doesn't show, hey, he's a knockout puncher. But through my amateur career, I had a lot of knockouts in the amateur. With the bigger gloves and the headgear on. Coming out of professional. I think I'm what they call a late bloomer. I think I'm getting to that point a little later than probably others, So
how old are you right now?
I'm 27. I just turned 27, and I think knockouts is gonna start coming now, around now. More when I get into that man strength and that man, that mentally instead of that young adult. So
yeah, you're right in your prime.
Correct.
And tell us about you've had won a couple titles, USBA, NABA. And so tell us, about, say then there was another title that there was like an IBC or something like that you won. So tell us about, let's say, pick any one of those title fights that you had that I'm sure was memorable for you and who you fought and how it went and how that felt for you.
I think my USBA one was the most memorable one. I think I fought Oyson Fagan, a guy from Ireland.
Okay.
Very, very durable fighter. Right there, you can, really doesn't have too much boxing. He's not the boxer, he's more or less the brawler type, Ricky Hatton type.
Kind of a straight ahead.
Exactly. And styles make fights, and I think, that type of style suits what kind of fighter I am better than me fighting of a boxer or someone, you know, of that nature.
Sure.
But
and so how'd that fight go? You pretty much just outboxed him. It went the distance, didn't it?
Yeah, it went the distance. I outboxed him, you know, and it was some other fights that, you know, I went through before that with other titles. I think of those little titles, I had like 8 of them, but now I'm trying to capture some of the big ones now, you know. So
sure.
We'll see how that rolls.
And then you had a draw against, you said, Michael Clark.
Correct.
And what happened there?
Michael Clark was from the Contender. Great fighter. He's a boxer fighter, you know. And I thought I had, you know, I won the fight. I was a more, you know, I had to change my style. I became an aggressive type fighter, and I thought I was more aggressive in the fight, you know, and with landing punches and being, you know, just being more aggressive. But, you know, it was a great experience fighting somebody of that, you know, caliber, and he has tremendous experience in the ring and as well. You know, he been fighting for years, man, probably 14 or 15 years, over 14 or 15 years. So.
And then in August you fought Jason Litzau down in Biloxi. And tell us what happened there.
Me and Litzau fought. It was a great fight, a fight that I would love to happen again. You know, try to get a rematch. I actually want to get a rematch with all the guys I lost to and the ones I had draws with. And with the Litzau fight, it was you know, Litzau, I think the height advantage had a little bit to do with it. You know, he was 5'10". I never fought anyone that's that much
He's
taller
got a great reach, doesn't he?
in my life. Yeah, correct. It was great reach, you know, and also he has a little bit of boxing ability. So
yeah.
it's hard to get to him and, you know, trying to time him. And with my style being a boxer and his style also being so much of a boxer, it was kind of difficult. But, you know, those type of fights are fights that I need to adjust to. So I really like that type of fight as well, because those are the type of fights that, you know, if that's a world title fight, a world championship fight, I'm going to have to adjust to that type of style, you know. So I think
and you learned a lot in that fight, obviously.
Correct,
and
correct,
I mean, how would you describe about what lessons you took away from that?
I think I learned, hey, look, if I would have had the opportunity again, I'd have changed, you know, the way I would have started or the way I would have fought, because, you know, I could have hurt the kid. I mean, I had the kid hurt. I could have knocked him out. And, you know, I think things happened in the fight. Me getting cut in 2 different places in one eye in the second round had a lot to do with it. But those are the things that you got to fight through. And I think different setting, different time. Hey, look. Hey, you win some, you lose some. We got to keep moving forward.
That's right. So recently you moved down here to Houston. How'd you end up here in Houston?
I came down to Houston. I actually, I'm in school. I'm taking classes down here. I'm doing getting my business administration license.
Fantastic.
And I got my uncle owns a property tax consulting company, which I'm helping him out. You know, learning that business. Something to fall back on, something to do, something to start up while I'm continuing my, you know, boxing career.
Okay. And then you ended up here at Legends, and how did that happen? And you guys, you have a new trainer here. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. You know, I was searching around, you know, for gyms to go to see where, you know, where some of the boxing gyms at, so somewhere close to where I'm actually staying at. And I ran across this facility, Legends, and when I walked in here, you know, I met Ramon. Ramon is the trainer out here. You know, and I started working with Ramon, and, you know, Ramon's a great guy. And more impressively, you know, he was very, very ethical. So I grew an attraction to Ramon and said, you know, wanted to do some business out here, wanted to see, you know, give him a shot, give him an opportunity to, you know, and also as myself, give myself an opportunity to try something new, give him boxing a new kickstart in my career.
Sure. And any particular skills or techniques you're trying to focus on right now?
I'm just trying to focus on just being sharp.
Yeah.
Just being sharp. I mean, I've been fighting for over 16 years. I think I've seen pretty much every style there is. You know, try to just be able to be sharp and be able to adjust when I need to adjust. And
be ready for the next fight, and any idea who or when that might be?
My next fight is November 5th. I'm fighting a guy, Dean White. It's a fighter that I already fought. You know, I'm coming off a loss. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. So I think this would be a great fight. You know, give me a nice win on my record and hopefully something big. You know, I'm under Roy Jones. I know Roy Jones have a couple of big fights coming up. You know, I think he's fighting over in Australia. I might be going over in Australia, or I know he's fighting Bernard Hopkins here come next year. So we'll see how everything rolls out. I know for a fact I'm going to be on some of those cards. So.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
No problem. Thank you.